КЗ, блять.
Through the hands.
The students are really excited. They're curious to kind of explore the technology.
Of them going over to go and experience those streets and actually test.
To the Epic Games, to this Epic build, it's a new energy solutions. Gothenburg and the climate change, segregation, the new transport needs, and the amount of rising data amount in the society. One way is to build a digital twin. We see an example here earlier. We call it Virtual Gothenburg, and it will be finished in 2021 when we have our 400 years anniversary of Gothenburg. We're welcome to visit us then. A digital twin is not just a visual copy of the reality. It's also the information which is connected to it. That's very important. And in Gothenburg, we see as a smart city, we share data with each other. All processes in the city share data. And in the central of this circle, we have Virtual Gothenburg, which will act as a platform for that kind of data. We can visualize it, analyze it, and demonstrate. You can divide, you say, the data in the digital twin, and then what you can use the digital twin for. You can first talk about the present data, which you could be used to understand the city, how it works. And then we have real-time data that we can use to control the city, like the traffic and the flow of people in the town, the pollutions, and so on. And for the third, we have simulated data or scenario data, which we can use to predict the future. We have large investments, you can say about 10 million euro in West Sweden concerning this kind of digital twin technology. And one project which is led by Chalmers Technical University, it's about building a platform based on Unreal Engine for digital twins. And the Virtual Gothenburg, our digital twin, will serve as a base for that kind of research. But now to the tricky question, Harald, how do we make this happen?
Yes, that's the tricky question indeed. So, my name is Harald Carlson. I work on this Virtual Gothenburg project as bringing it into Unreal and how that pipeline will look. So the basic concept of our pipeline is we start with all this data, right? There's data scattered all over the city. So some people have the roads, but someone else has the traffic lights, and some data does not even exist that we need. For example, we didn't have a database covering rooftop materials for all the buildings, and that's kind of essential to building a visually pleasing model of the city. So we had to generate that ourselves by looking at orthographic images of the city and building an AI that looked at all these rooftops and calculating what kind of materials they could use and stuff like that. So you get all these kinds of different data held by different people, and the next step from collecting that data is to process it into a database that we can control and actually look at all the data and have very interesting. But there is a lot of the city in real time. Then people are able to use this. So to do all this, we use world composition. It's an Unreal feature that basically splits up the map into a grid. So you get these tiles. And this is one of those tiles. It's 1 kilometer across. And I want to focus on this colorful, happy texture over here. We call it the semantic segmentation tile or something cool like that. If you have a cool name for it, you can talk to me later. And this texture can contain thousands of data points because we can segment the colors. So dark green can be where to spawn mushrooms, and light green can be where to spawn blueberries. But the real bottleneck is to actually have a database that contains mushroom locations for Gothenburg or something like that. So we need a bunch of data. Then we can put it into this texture and drive the environment. And this this tile is 1 kilometer across, and that's usually about the size of the projects we usually work on. And we're making 700 of these tiles to make up this grid. And it's a huge undertaking in in scale, but also in the level of detail we're hoping to achieve on this project. So to finish this off, hopefully we have a lot of Unreal interested people here. I'm just going to highlight this feature called Call-in Editor. Because since we're working with all this data, it kind of puts a lot of pressure on our workflow. So we can't really work in the editor in a normal fashion. We can't click things and move things around because it's too much. So Call-in Editor allows you to run blueprints inside the editor or even starting the game. So you get these buttons. So if we want to import thousands of buildings and place them in the world, we can just press a button and it does it for us. Very useful if you work with large data sets. And the funny thing is you can make a button that presses these buttons for you. And then you can make a button that presses those buttons, and it's super cool. And then you kind of end up with one big button in the end. And that's, everybody who's worked with data and stuff like this knows it won't really work, but it's at least a vision, right? To have one press of a button, and then it generates all the data, puts it together, names it, catalogs it, and updates it overnight. And we want to finish by showing you a quick clip of our progress so far. And thank you for listening to us, and I hope you enjoyed.
Ну нет, нам надо сейчас как-то... Нам надо что-то делать, блять, уже начинать, то есть... Время-то не бесконечное, а часики уже все оттикали. Вот. Тут видите, тут как бы вот то, что я хотел сделать, чтобы типа, блять, весь город, блять, показывало, как на тарелочке, нахуй, блять. Опять же, непонятно, как они это... Ну, они, наверное, там вручную просто сидят, блять, хуячат. То есть... Наняли... 700 квадратных километров. Это как это называется? Как такой... Watch Dogs, ёпта, бля... Такой Watch Dogs и SimCity одновременно.
I want to play the Tencent Javas library. Today,
у азиатов, конечно, блять, получше все это выглядит.
To talk about the topic of data visualization for the BIM and smart cities, about how we can create
Ну, азиат, конечно, захуячил.
the technology of Unreal 4 to improve.
Это, блять, как бы, да. Вот, ну, вот это, блять, уже ближе к тому, что надо, блять.
Improve efficiency, service, and helping more people in some of the emergency circumstances.
Это весь Шанхай.
But before I start, I want to play a video, short video. It will tell you who we are and what we have done.
Дизлайки ставят за коммунизм, типа... Дизлайки ставят за коммунизм, то есть...
Hello, how are you? Tencent Javas Lab is part of Tencent Cloud Infrastructure. We focused on building knowledge and decision platform to enable a
даже субтитры ему добавили. Вдруг не это самое.
We invest heavily in big data, machine learning, and data visualization to create a rich solution spanning across medical and healthcare sectors. And we're certainly looking forward to partner with Epic Games to build our reliable, advanced solution for our customer in both commercial and consumer sectors.
Penrose was the first time to use UE4 in the big data visualization field. we are always committed to providing our customers with stunning, high-quality products and services. This constantly drives us moving forward. At the same time, the powerful capabilities of UE4 allow us to turn imaginations into reality and help us grow steadily.
Well, Mom told me that life's like a box of chocolate. Well, today I finally figured it out from this picture. Well, in the past 9 years, we have tried many frameworks. I must say that Unreal Engine 4 is the best choice we have ever made. Well, because as a designer team, Blueprint gave us a lot of choice to get to the point. And this is how we start our development. This is a project called Hospital Control Cabin. What we are looking at is the visualization of management of a hospital for a 24-hour period. With the powerful professional animation tools of Unreal Engine, which control the parameters such as lamps, slide rules, timeline, etc., to create a visualization of a hospital that can manage over 4 million visitors in every year. With the VR SDK, we can create an immersive experience, just like the PDL1, Act on the Cancer. This is the medical VR project. In this case, doctors and the patients can interact with the simulation in real time. That is convenience for the patients to understand the principle of treatment. And using the pixel streaming, we can even deploy the experience to the patient's home. Recently, we are using part of the Unreal Studio's data space. So we can read the BIM data. And this is a project that we are building. The Shenzhen Exhibition Center, the largest pavilions building in the world.
За Autodesk релиз, блядь. Ох, блядь.
One day you wake up and realize your ambition. You optimize.
Что за Autodesk вообще, блядь? В любом случае денежку просит.
Environment schedules 3D construction. BIM software connects the
Our solutions captures all the building's data from almost almost 10,000 devices in real time, include energy, security, vehicles, and equipment, so that we can make the building smart and safety. That means when there is nobody for a while, the building's air conditioner will shut down to save energy. And even use the chaos technology. We can simulate the security arrangement from a virtual fire or earthquake. Based on the Tencent cloud map data, we dynamically
Типа вот самое главное, это вот это у них какой-то датасет там есть, блядь, где они его взяли, я не знаю. Может, они вручную его сидели, рисовали там 10 лет, что наверняка так и было.
generate the city model and render the city scene. By analyzing the map data, we can transfer the street, building, and terrain parameters in Unreal Engine, generates the model and the materials in real time through the render pipeline. Finally, we can get excellent city scene. Based on this, we mapped the medical condition of the city Changsha in China. And then CDC will use it to track the delivery of end user of vaccines, visualization disease transmission. Based on the abilities to processing the big data,
Не знаю, когда они там это снимали, написано год назад, но это им явно пригодилось, наверное, с этой еболой, или как она там называется.
Data warehouse service. And in Unreal Engine, the management of data is divided into three parts.
Типа в России даже такого нет, наверное, то есть он там показывали Швецию и Китай, то есть как бы, ну не знаю, в Америке может есть что-то подобное, наверное, тоже, но где-нибудь в ФБР, но в России, наверное, точно нет ничего такого. Даже никто не начинал.
Data events, processing, and rendering, which are used to analyze, rebuild, and generate different types of results into kinds of information graphics for the user.
Хотя кто знает, может где-то в Яндексе что-то делают.
Yangzhou Marathon,
Мой mail.
2018, we used the RRI analyzed model to predict the abnormal data. So we can further
Типа у всех людей есть датчики, которые измеряют пульс. И как только он у людей по какой-то причине вскочил, значит какая-то ебическая хуйня произошла. Примерно вот так это выглядит. И смотрят, в каком месте это произошло. То есть, если, типа, блядь, в каком месте, и значит, там какая-то хуйня произошла. На это можно фастом отреагировать. То есть, на самом деле, довольно такое себе. Написано, там какие-то забеги бывают, марафоны, там бежать начинают, что значит там. Тахикардия.
assistant the service of medical rescue, event security, track abnormal situation, and emergency response. In 2011, it was the beginning of Penrose. We were just crazy about the beauty of the data. We didn't have any grand ambitions. But it turned out that Penrose service can improve more than 10 million visitors' medical user experience every year. So we start to think about these two things. Cloud SaaS, applied again, and real-time simulation. In the past, we were focused on the games and the social networks. Right now, we're committed to the health, medical care, and environmental governance. In the future, we want to do something for the city and human beings. Thank you.
Это не самый бесполезный на самом деле выход был, но дизлайки таки ставят, я не знаю почему. Компания, которая выкупает западный игровой рынок для коммунистического Китая. Типа Америка ничего никуда не выкупает. Она просто... У нее вообще никто ничего не спрашивает. Типа, блядь. Типа, будешь там про святую демократическую Америку пиздеть, ну, все, бан и все, как бы, блядь. Вот. И проблемы нет. Блендер to Unreal нам, кстати, бы не помешало с этим блендером разобраться. То есть из Гудини нам нужно и Гудини, и блендер, и вся вот эта хуйня, и вот эта вся хуйня. И так, в общем-то, я посмотрел, это же просто невозможно, просто, блядь. Сколько всего.
Idea what's going on, augmented reality, Unreal Engine on this, and they're wanting. We're very, very excited that Finnair.
We're collecting data on value engineering, about data-driven design and Unreal. Very exciting topic, mostly because if you put the word data in front of things, people go, oh, technical, which is fun, especially architects. We architects love data-driven design. Why? Well, because it really helps drive the projects forward. Right now, we are creating the smartest, most well-developed projects that have ever come out of history. And this is because of the data that we're gathering from across the globe and from across the different disciplines as well. We're collecting data on sustainability. We're collecting data on value engineering. We're collecting data all the way down to the minute details of facade development and design, where we can design facades to optimize for visibility, for energy consumptions. And so this is really just due because we've been using all the new advanced tools which have been coming into fruition. And the big question which we always were asking was, where does Unreal fit in this? Where does a real-time gaming engine come into the data-driven design aspect of Unreal? And the obvious response is, well, it's a real-time rendering tool. It's great. We can use it to visualize things. And we can create gorgeous visuals. We know that. We see examples of it all the time and amazing videos of super cool speakers. But with the introduction of VR and immersive technologies, we were like, why are we not? Well, this is a big opportunity because all the kind of data collection excludes one really, really important feature, and that is you. It's me. It's this waving man who I spent 3 hours making. Essentially, we are the people of the future who are going to be occupying these spaces. We are the people who are going to be working in the offices. We are the people who are going to be shopping in retail. We are the people, if we're born in the wrong generation, we're not going to be able to afford the housing. But regardless of which, it's important that the design should be focused around you. So how is it that we do that within Unreal? Well, we need to first of all look at a way to bridge the two realities. Because we have digital reality, which is very fancy. That's where we work. We love digital reality. We create stuff in VR. It's phenomenal. But we live in reality. So there really needs to be a commonality identified between those two spaces. Because this is us. We actually are there to build real things, real spaces that we're going to occupy. So that is what's important to us, is actually making reality itself. So to do that, we kind of started playing around. I wanted to do just a quick research and development project, which we started on called Project Insight. Not to be confused with the Marvel's Project Insight, which was, I think if there's any geeks in the room, they'll remember this. It collects data to kill people. Ours is just a little bit friendlier than that, using Unreal. It's lovely. But similar principle is that we have this wealth of data. We need to be collecting it to make more informed decisions, not kill people, and drive the projects and the designs forward. So imagine a space where the space is designed around where you want to walk, what you want to look at, where you're going. There's no obstructions. There's no anything in there that kind of makes you feel uncomfortable. And to enhance the decision-making process, this is the most important thing. We're steering away from design theory and more into design fact, because we've got the data to suggest that it's true. So to do that, we kind of started all the way back with the digital reality drivers. What data is it that we can start to gather very simply from our Unreal models? And we can do this very easily with Unreal. It's got phenomenal tools because, again, it's the gaming engine side of it that allows us to do it. So we build these blueprints and codes which run seamlessly in the background of every single one of our experiences, whether we want to use the data or not, because we want to build up this vast wealth of
Ничего не понимаю.
Of it. And initially, we looked at just collecting four things, four very simple things: user position, target mesh, and time. And I'm going to quickly just go over, why each of these are really important to the design process. User position, this is movement, where people move through spaces. So we're always tracking on where people are wanting to go, where they're not going, to help enforce maybe the common paths of travel. Where is that? Or the path of least resistance. Where are people stepping over stuff in order to get somewhere faster? At the same point, it allows us to clearly identify where the dead zones are in projects. Where are people not going? Or where are people going that maybe we don't want them to go? And how is it that we can modify that urban
Данные
management plan
собирают о том, кто куда
Target position is a very
ходит.
fun one. This is
С
basically
Гугла
monitoring
покупают. Наверное, они их перепродают
what we're
просто.
looking at. And the most
Хотя
interesting
я
thing
бы
about
не
this that
стал.
we kind of discovered very early on is that
Типа данные всех у всех есть, потому что, типа, блядь, есть телефоны у всех. Google точно знает, и Apple.
Normal people walk into a space, and I say normal because we're not normal.
Единственный смысл вообще продавать все эти телефоны, чтобы, блядь, собирать. То есть другого нету, блядь. Явно не для того делается, чтобы людям там веселее жилось.
But the more important thing we can do with the site data is we can actually use this in Unreal to hit it against particular object meshes. What is the meshes which are getting the most amount of hits based on each user experience? So we can identify very clearly very important parts of the project and parts which no one's looking at. But more interestingly, if we move that building, we put it somewhere else, we move the art sculpture or green wall, does it still have the same value? Does it still have the same attention? So we can then create smarter spaces based on that. And lastly, time. Time was an interesting one. We wanted to use it as a way of evaluating how long someone spends in any particular zone in VR. What it actually showed us is that people spend very little time in VR spaces, which was really useful for allowing us to actually create unique experiences within Unreal, really focused to get the most important data out of the VR experiences as possible, as fast as possible. But all of this is useless unless we can prove that it works in reality, or there's a commonality in reality, that there's a coexistence, that the way that people move in one is the way that people do it in the reality as well. So to do that, we kind of had to look at a couple of reality drivers that we could use as benchmark comparisons against the digital ones. So traffic flow analysis, user engagement, target value, and time.
Если камера стоит, она типа, блядь, так замеряет, сука, людишек, куда идет. Ёбаный цирк какой-то, блядь, уже жить невозможно, блядь, становится из-за всей этой хуйни, блядь. Даже, блядь, выйдешь на улицу и уже на улицу выходишь, уже все знают, что ты выходишь на улицу. Заебись, блядь. Не выходишь, все знают, что ты не выходишь.
Would actually be using the gram, I think as the kids are calling it. The gram, Tumblr, does that exist anymore? I have no idea. Flickr. These geographical social media tags are really the way that we can identify what spaces with inside projects are important. In this room, there's people taking selfies of big signs, or whether or not it's a special roof or a special chair that they've seen. And again, attributing that to specific features in a zone, and then seeing whether or not that compares to our data point cloud that we collected within Unreal. Very exciting. Now, time I always throw in here, just because what we discovered after lots and lots of digging is there's absolutely no correlation between digital time and time spent in reality. And this is due because I assume basically on the fact we don't have mobile phones in digital reality, we don't tie our shoelaces in digital reality, and the general distraction's not there. But there were still some data points that we were able to collect from the reality version and actually find the commonality in the digital sense as well. So that's really the important part of it, because we're really then trying to take these two data sets and actually seeing how they speak to each other and what the kind of percentage of accuracy there is going from one to the other. And scanning their brains is that we can start to create this heat map of sort of movement or target data within a digital space. And you would be absolutely right. There's just no commonality between me jumping on tables through lawns and on top of pools, because that's what you do in VR, compared to me in a real space, unless we've had a few drinks, in which case we're dancing on tables exactly the same. But that's why we invoke the wisdom of crowds, which is a basic sort of strategy where we look at the idea that the opinions or actions of one person to another means absolutely nothing. But as a collective, as a crowd, whenever we start to look at this, we can actually start to bring some points of similarity across from it. So whenever we start to take not just data from 5 people or 10 people from a particular space, but we overlay this onto many huge data sets, is that we can start to create this heat map of sort of movement or target data within a digital space and do the same in reality and see what the points are where they actually start to conglomerate and actually find a way that they actually start to match. And this is what's really important, is the collection of the vast amounts of data. It has to be something which we're constantly collecting, constantly working with. Because the idea of this isn't just to enforce new designs. The advances of this is to actually use it in the digital twin modeling. If we have a project which is already existing and we build a digital clone of that, then we can then play around in the digital space, see how people react.
Нихуя, блядь. Непонятно. Министерство обороны.
The teams, tools, and data you need to deliver the
react in it, or vice versa, play around with the reality data and use it to influence the digital space. Because as I said, the most important part of this is increasing the efficiency. And the more data we collect, the better it goes. And we can explore additional data drivers. I know there's certain people who are putting helmets on people and scanning their brains, trying to sense emotions in space. It's mental. And all this data is really useful in actually targeting this crossover between reality and digital reality. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're looking to do. We're looking to create spaces based around you guys, about the way that you find comfortable living, the way that you move around the space, and what it is you want to look like. And the more that we do this, then the more advanced our designs are actually going to be. So we're continuing this down the line, and we're very excited with the direction it's going. I realize I had a really short time to kind of go over that, but if you see me outside of this, then please come and ask me some questions. I love talking about it.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Game side, of course, so we cater to other game studios where they use Unreal Engine to create most of the top AAA game titles that you're probably familiar with. Or we need this to be still imagery here, creating beautiful high-res data, and then very quickly they're outputting 4K visualizations of architectural data. You can see with water and glacier tree. Let's put this guy in here. So if I just drag that right into the background. So I'm going to go to character path. Things on there. So let's jump out of this right now because I think I'm running low on time.
So this morning we're going to talk
Вечно все смотреть, то есть
in the environment. Animations that he walks and he goes into his jog cycle and then he stops. He looks around a little bit and then he continues his jog and heads off screen. Now, one of the really amazing workflows is that I can have an animator working on these blends in a subscene like this completely separate. And so my animator can be working on these subsequences while a completely different sequencer artist is working on a master sequence, or a completely different artist is working on the effects track. So let's open up the environment track. And this particular artist is working on changing the environmental effects. So in this case, this is a completely different level sequence. The sidewalk from nice, dry, ashy, sunny. Get all that control right here on my camera. Actually segment all the different layers.
I'm just going to switch back.
Ох, блять. В коридоре-то в этом тоже делать особо нечего.
And so on, but it's the atmosphere, the ambience, the feel of the place, the meaning-making symbolisms and so on that really are the key to this process.
The experience in these public spaces.
It's used to design City Engine by Esri, which is used to design procedural cities on a large scale. And then we are marrying that to Unreal Engine and its robust platforms. We are marrying that to Unreal Engine
хз. Мы не пишем, да? Цены будут, блядь, пиздецовые. И так, блядь, все слишком сложно.
My name's Eric Whitner. I'm the product manager for City Engine and Procedural Technology at Streetscape. In 2016, what we did last, primarily creating really attractive, know what City Engine is. Raise your hand if you're a City Engine user. Oh, a fair number. Well, I may go a little bit quicker through these slides. City is on the shape and form of that building, and then use a procedural rule to generate and render that in 3D, and then consume it in your desktop products across ArcGIS and share it as a service for other. I'm going to start the island here, define a area, a UTM, so the terrain there that represents the city. Now, by default, they underneath me find the minimum elevation and set me at the minimum. And look at the inspector. You notice it already has a rule associated with it. So we wrote a rule that consumes OpenStreetMap straight out of the box. So we just select these buildings, generate, right? And we have the beginnings of our 3D city. Now, by default, they come in as colored blocks. I can flip them, so I'm going to turn them all to realistic facades. Let them regenerate. Building is as a nice boring street. Create 3D content, and it's built right into the product. On this, it's downloadable, available as an example online. People or bus stops, etc. So let's switch back to. So actually, one thing I did want to mention, if you're rule or the natural unimproved space rule, so that was SketchUp.
Challenge everyone here to act, which will just from City Engine alone, you areas and streets and in local government and
scenarios. So the ability to your design.
Also an area tool. Then we also doors use scenarios. And here some stuff here. So I can some basically something like time.
Непонятно, откуда они тоже данные хуячат. Наверное, с той же OpenMap этой самой. Да, блядь, даже цену, блядь, не хотят показать, блядь, перед тем, как я зайду. Ну, пиздец просто. Конечно, хорошо, но...
By Esri, which is used to design procedural cities on a large scale.
Real-time understanding.
And these new tools, and we have the unrestricted
High-level research down.
This and the tools for making it happen.
Все, блядь, не могу больше. Ну, в общем. Надо потихонечку что-то делать в плане выхода на улицу, потому что невозможно уже, блядь, это терпеть. Хватит уже это терпеть. О. Я так на самом деле не понимаю, как она работает, как она вот эти окна показывает, там грязь какую-то, то ли там она есть, это вообще нихуя нету никакой грязи, да, то есть оно все... Вот эта вот бетонная хуйня как бы хуячится поверху. Вот эти ржавчины я не знаю, как пока. Вообще не... Ну... Это не отсюда. Типа, может, что-то не то смотрю, типа... И как оно из одного и того же дома делает все. Блок 1, блок 2. А там еще инстанс какой-то есть. Есть... А, вот. Ну, так и написано 0.2. И здесь то же самое. То есть, а здания разные, блядь. Здания вроде разные, то есть. Здания вроде разные совсем, а... Хотя... Там building 1 инстанс. Но... Building 1 инстанс. А вот эти вот здания, типа, они совсем другие, которые с широкими окнами, блядь. Может, они просто как-то расположены иначе. Так нихуя же, блядь, они не только, ну, типа, блядь, та же текстура, но она как-то по-другому натянута, что ли, я даже не знаю. Типа, там этажей, там вот здесь меньше этажей, но типа такая же крыша и это самое, просто на этаж меньше, блядь. И нету первого... А, просто нету первого этажа вот этой хуйни, блядь. Просто нету первого этажа, блядь. А у этих зданий, я не знаю. Они, может быть, даже одинаковые. Да, нету первого этажа, и она как-то выглядит как в Париже, я не знаю, то есть... Более квадратно, а здесь треугольно. Ну, видимо, это не важно, на что там вот текстуру натягивать, лишь бы натянулось. А квадратные здания, видимо, тоже. Тут один этаж вырезан. Тут четырехэтажное, тут трехэтажное поменьше. То есть вот эти 3 этажа верхние без первого, блять, хуячат. Просто 3 этажа верхние без первого хуячат. Что сидели как-то это все думали, делали, да. Это четырехэтажная, видимо, полная ее версия. Хотя, на самом деле, всего лишь один и тот же дом, насколько я понимаю, блядь. Это, сука, один... То есть, вот эти 3 этажа, это 3 этажа отсюда без крыши. Как и вот здесь мы можем видеть, блядь. Это один этаж, блядь. Цокольный, который внизу. Наверное. Просто его поменьше, что ли, сделать, я не знаю, то есть... Или нет. То есть это один и тот же дом, просто он... И у него куски отрезали, как бы, блядь. Он тот цокольный этаж, вот это вот... Типа, блядь, вот эта хуйня, это вот эта хуйня, и вот эта хуйня, блядь. Просто без крыши. Не говоря уже про вот эти два. А крыша здесь вот отдельно сделана, то есть... Хотя, может, даже не отдельно, а и крыша там точно так же хреначит. То есть это действительно все вот из этой текстуры. Просто ее куски зареюзаны. Типа в одном используется вот просто 3 вот этих, потом один вот этот этаж используется, потом используется вот эта вот хуёвина без эти кондиционеры, без это самое, блядь, без вот этой хуйни сверху, блядь. Причем, видимо, иллюзия такая создается, что это разные все дома, и их тут дохуя. Типа та же квадратная текстура. Может, оно все экспортировалось откуда-то уже совсем с этим уже сделанным, то есть... Теперь непонятно, каким образом в окнах он там... Это абсолютно такой стеклянный эффект. О. Опять сами с собой разговаривают. А, ну, вроде должен звук быть, то есть я даже не смотрел. Есть там что-то? Нет. Надо все-таки на улицу выйти. Вот, потихонечку. Раз в 2 месяца. Вот, потихонечку. Раз в 2 месяца, вот, потихонечку. Эх, печально. Лампочками слишком много всех лампочек. Но, видимо, окна где-то здесь, то есть там какой-то дисплейсмент, наверное, опять происходит. Или вот эти нормали. Окна как-то глубже находятся, что ли, то есть, я не знаю, как это объяснить. Типа они подвигаются вместе с... Типа создается такая иллюзия, что там, типа, блядь, оконные рамы какие-то даже присутствуют. То есть, хотя там нихуя нет. То есть глубже как-то, блядь, они... Все это в эмиссив цвет, но... Тут не только цвет, видимо, нужен, а... Хотя, может, это вот розовое, типа, блядь, розовый канал, да? Типа, это розовый канал. Красный, то есть, блядь. Розовый — это просто когда синий с красным, блядь, то есть. Не знаю, почему здесь синий, а здесь не синий нихуя. Синий, наверное, это чтобы, блядь... Альфа-канал. Синий — это чтобы альфа-канал какой-то там. А вот куда идет красный, вот не можно было просто посмотреть, куда эти нитки идут? На какую кнопку мне нажать, чтобы увидеть, куда нитки идут? Это же должно быть самое простое. Я же не буду по каждой нитке смотреть, куда она идет. Это абсолютно невозможно. Опять какой-то альфа-канал. Материал блендинг. Слои. Параметр 1. Уртайл 1. Нормали какие-то. Чтобы знать, что все это такое, там все эти нормали какие-то хуяли, блядь. вершины, чего только, блядь, нет, то есть... Может, это и есть эти самые окна, я не знаю. Скорее всего. В общем, потом надо будет все это посмотреть. Сегодня у нас так вот, в общем, там какие-то домики. Ну, домики еще, может, потом включим, потому что тут на 2 часа ничего не понятно, то есть, как бы. Но тем не менее.